Hello, 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 and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my videos. Don't forget to share and hype this video. I've been recapping The Traitors Season 4 since the beginning of the season. I am new to recapping shows. This might be my last time recapping. I don't know. So I'm trying something different to see, if my views will pick up. And on the last episode, for episode 7, I said I would try reading this article and kind of give my take and my thoughts on what happened on the last episode of Traitors. I took my notes. I watched it. But, until I get some footing with this recapping thing, or until I can start doing face-to-face recaps when my schedule frees up. Let me just go through this article because I thought this article for the last episode was interesting. So all right, so this is from theringer.com, where they recap the episodes of The Traitors. And I'm gonna not use the M word. I'm gonna say oft or red rum, as I see another creator using, because you just never know if YouTube is going to flag it, even though it's, within the context of the show. So instead of using the M word when the castmates go bye-bye, I'm going to say oft or red rum. So Colton is red rummed. Do, do, do. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Colton is gone. Thank you, Candace. The reveal that Colton got murdered. The reveal that Colton got red run by the Traitors, although, let's be honest, by Candace specifically, was the first thing this season that made my jaw literally drop. I did not see this coming. I certainly didn't think Colton was going to make it to the end, but I assumed he would get banished by the faithfuls, most of whom had long tired of his annoyingly brash style of play. Yeah, it was annoying, all right. Now, this article is written by Andrew Grutadaro, and I'll provide the link because this site seems like a pretty cool site. So I'll provide the link if y'all want to, look at it again or look at other stuff on this site. All right, but there are 2 reasons why I thought Colton was safe for at least another week. 1, he was Rob's closest ally and friend. And 2, his name was on the lips of so many faithfuls that you'd think the Traitors would have no reason to waste a murder on him. Oh, Lord, waste a murder on him. There are separate explanations for why neither of these things ended up mattering, but they ultimately boil down to one person. Candace Dillard Bassett. Some people's favorite housewife, not everybody's. Candace was banished. In the history of the Traitors, I cannot remember another person making this many bad decisions. Oh, come on. I'll try to recap them all in order. First, after yelling at Rob for making good strategic moves and sending Lisa Rinna home, Alan Cumming tells the 2 remaining traitors that they have the option to recruit a faithful to their side rather than red rum. Rob immediately says he doesn't want to bring anyone else into the turret, and Candace, with little pushback, agrees. She says that she doesn't want to create a 2 versus 1 situation where Rob has a traitor ally, but that acknowledgement alone that everyone's fondness for Rob is so total and so guaranteed that no matter the recruit, they would choose his side over hers. Seems like exactly why Candace would be wise to bring on another traitor. At least then, Rob would have less control. She also seems to not spend a second considering why Rob would be so against it. As an olive branch, Rob fully cedes the red rum decision to Candace, and her top pick is Colton. This doesn't make a ton of sense. At this moment, she does not know that Colton is starting to say her name. Also, at the end of the last episode, Candace was planting a seed in Johnny's mind that Colton and Rob were both traitors, and he was buying it. But no matter, she merely says that he's messy and thus needs to go. Rob puts up the smallest amount of resistance to this because he does know that Colton has been saying her name and that everyone will shift their suspicion to Candace if Colton is offed. But again, Rob allowing his closest ally to be off raises no alarm bells for Candace. She merely takes it as a W that she sent Rob's boy home. I think she was trying to avenge Lisa's death. She did get a little too emotional. I will agree with that. She got a little too emotionally involved. Based on many things, confessional quotes, her reasoning for not wanting to recruit, it is clear that Candace knows how much everyone in the castle loves Rob. Yet she presses on with her mission to make everyone not love Rob. It fails. At the round table, the best argument she can come up with to implicate Rob is that he dropped his fork at breakfast. Yeah. She really should have stuck with Rob and they got somebody else out of the house. By the time we get to the end of the round table, Candace has managed the situation so poorly that even her two biggest allies, Johnny Ware and Dorinda Medley, vote against her. From day one, Candace played this game with emotion and ego first. I don't know where the ego part came in. I really don't. I don't agree with the author here. She could not stop herself from defending her friends, one of whom she knew was a traitor, when it would have been smarter to shut up and go with consensus. All right, from day one, Candace played this game with emotion and ego first. She could not stop herself from defending her friends, with one of whom she knew was a traitor, when it would have been smarter to shut up and go with consensus. She was so upset that Rob betrayed Lisa that she could not restrain herself from writing his name on last week's round table, a decision so incredibly random and inexplicable that it immediately came back to bite her. And she could not swallow her pride and do the only thing that could have ensured her survival, butting up to Rob and letting him run the show. Candace wanted to win the traitors her way and only her way, and that's why she lost. Now, I do agree with that. All right, then we go on to the traitors' power rankings. Power in this context is a measure of who is controlling the house, who seems furthest away from being banished, and who has the best odds to prevail at the end of the road. So number one, of course, is Rob Roche, traitor. Last week he was ranked number one as well. Has anyone ever dominated the game like this? Holy F. This dude is killing it. Bro is feeling himself so much that he's out here quoting Mark Twain, or at least trying to. It seems like every lever Rob pulls is the right one. I was skeptical about him declining the opportunity to recruit a faithful, but clearly that was the correct instinct. It simply postponed recruitment to after the one-on-one battle with Candace that he had the numbers to win, leaving him with full control over who becomes a traitor. I was stunned that he didn't fight harder to keep Colton, but he wisely saw it as a way to get Candace to seal her own fate and to once again dump an ally the second it became useful to do so. I was surprised he didn't employ the dagger to give himself another vote at what seemed like a pretty split round table, but that gamble also paid off. It was a practically unanimous decision against Candace, and Rob didn't waste his advantage. So I should probably just trust that Rob's decision to recruit Eric Nam is the right call too. You can certainly see the logic. Eric is perhaps the most faithful of all the faithfuls. He has less suspicion on him than Rob does. But crucially, he also has less power than Rob does and less killer instinct too, meaning that it's highly unlikely that Eric could overthrow Rob, let alone try to do so. It's very hard to win the traitors as a traitor. Odds are still that Rob will suffer a precipitous downfall. Really? Think so? But to be honest, would you really bet against him at this point? All right, number two, Mara Higgins. She's a faithful. Last week she was ranked at number 6. Honestly, she's just as high. She's just as high because I think Rob will carry her to the end. These two crazy kids have something great going on. Number 3, Eric. Well. Look who just fell into some actual power. Little Eric Nam, the singer-songwriter whose songs we all definitely know and love. I don't. Has been recruited by Rob to be a traitor. What y'all think? Is he going to accept? That obviously puts Eric in an advantageous spot, especially considering how unlikely it seems that the faithfuls will ever suspect him. Now we'll have to wait and see what he does with the opportunity. Surely he's not stupid enough to go home out of sure loyalty to the faithfuls, but beyond that, will he actually be able to leverage being a traitor? Unlike Candace, will he recognize Rob's power and treat him as an asset rather than an enemy? Or will he just be a sacrificial lamb for Rob to keep around until he needs to offer the faithful some blood? Number 4. Now, see, Mark is my dude. He puts Mark as number 4, which I agree with. Last week he was number 2, which being farthest away from being banished or murdered. But it doesn't have any description. Everybody said Mark is boring, but hey, Mark is playing the game in his own way. Go, Mark. Go, Mark. All right, Natalie. Natalie Anderson, faithful. Last week she was ranked at number 8. Rob, Eric, because he's a traitor now, and Mara, because young love. Will all see another morning in Scotland. So Rob, Eric, and Mara. All right, so it seems safe to say they'll all see another morning. Everyone else is at risk for being off, though. Mark and Natalie feel like they're in the best shape out of this unfortunate pack because they are part of the Dagger 6, the group of players who know that Rob won the Dagger in last week's challenge. It's technically the Dagger 5 now since Colton went home. Bye-bye, Colton. Rob, and by proxy, Eric, who is also part of the Dagger 6, is more likely to keep them safe, not only because they're all allies, but also because they know that Rob has double vote power and are thus disincentivized from going after him during a round table. They always are not responsible for this brief respite from the fear of being murdered. Oh, you know what I thought about? Candace didn't know who had the dagger. If Candace knew Rob had that dagger, she would not have voted for Rob. See how they do the black girl? They just keep her out of the loop. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, they themselves are not responsible for this brief respite from the fear of being offed, but at this point, you just gotta survive another day. And props to Natalie for lying low in this episode, letting the funk from her temper tantrum wear off. 6, Kristen Kish. Kristen, meanwhile, is guaranteed survival because she found a shield in this week's challenge. The chef has played a fairly uninspiring game so far. Even to say she's played feels like an overstatement, but oftentimes on the traders, it's the people who float beneath the noise and look into some timely immunity who make it to the end. Number 7, Dorinda Medley. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. Dorinda is probably the most useless player still in the game. Dang. Dorinda just want her face on TV. That's all. That's it. That's all. Steven. Number 8, you keep waiting for Steven to make a move, but he is very clearly comfortable letting his game be dictated by everyone else's. This week, his feet get held to the fire because A, he's too normal and quiet. B, Colton also said his name before getting offed. And C, Lisa Rinna inadvertently effed him when she put her goal in his chest last episode. None of that sticks, of course, but more and more people keep being like, it seems like there's a boy up in the turret. A boy you least suspect. And even though this description also fits Rob to a T, no one can bring themselves to consider that reality. Thus, all of that suspicion is getting heaped into Steven. I wouldn't mind Steven lasting a little longer. He's a good candidate for both offing and banishment. That's a tough spot to be in. But he hadn't done anything to anybody. I don't think he'll be banished, me personally. Number 9, Johnny Ware. Johnny might be next. What y'all think? I spent the entire episode yelling at Johnny through the TV screen for being so alliance-peeled. He's been trying to treat the traitors like his survivor for weeks now, and with heat coming down on one of his best pals, Candace, it seemed like he was letting the suspicion steal his faith in her rather than shake it. But that's how bad a game Candace played. Not even Johnny could stick it out with her. You got to give him credit for remembering what the point of this game is. However, as Johnny falls asleep next to his framed photo of Tara Lipinski, he's in real danger. Even though he voted against Candace's alliance to her and her dejection after she reveals she's a traitor and goes home, it's going to be a source of strong suspicion at the end of the episode. Mara's already saying his name, and some of the other cast is remarking on how Candace was trying to get Johnny a shield in that day's challenge. Traitor on traitor crime did happen in this episode, but it would shock me if the cast made the incorrect leap that Johnny was the other traitor in that situation. He was also one of the loudest voices accusing Colton, which looks pretty bad now that it's clear that Colton was a faithful. Plus, for a guy who tried to turn traitors into an alliance game, he really doesn't have the numbers anymore. People firmly in his corner, Tara and maybe Dorinda and Kristen. Oof. 10, Tara Lipinski. So Andrew thinks Tara's going to, be likely to go home. I mean, even Tara spent this whole episode talking about how much she sucks at this game. Yeah, true. She did. All right, thank you, Andrew, for that lovely article. Now, let me see. What notes did I take? Okay, so he doesn't mention the mission. The mission was cute. They had to act out what a piece of artwork would look like based on the plaque. And Mark, Rob, and Kristen. Did y'all know Mark, Rob, and Kristen got to go into the gallery while the rest of the people divide up into two teams. And Rob was kind of bad at guessing Candace team's pictures or whatever. But they still got 4 out of 6 correct, or 4 out of something. 4 out of something correct. So they bank some money. Let's see. Johnny's saying Steven's name. Eric says Candace's name. Dorinda says Steven or Candace. Candace tries to plant Rob's name, but of course it doesn't work for her. Candace did not know that Colton was going around saying her name. If she had known this, then she probably wouldn't have offed Colton as soon as she had the chance. Let's see. In the round table, Natalie voted for Tara, and then later kind of apologized for it. For some reason, Kristen tells Eric that there's no way Rob could be a traitor. I don't know why she thinks that, but she's dumb. They're all getting the wool pulled over their eyes. Mara says Johnny's name. Rob is the last one to reveal his name, and he tells Candace's name. Most of them vote for Candace. So of course Rob tries to recruit. Rob is going to try to recruit Eric, and Eric looks like Where's Waldo when Rob reveals who he is. You know, when Rob reveals he's the traitor, Eric's about to jump out of his skin at the end of the episode. So we're going to see Colton's gone. Candace is gone. We got Eric, Mark, Steven, Johnny, Tara, Natalie, Rob, Dorinda, Mara. Did I say Kristen? All of them are left. And I'm rooting for Mark. I'm rooting for Mark. Maybe Natalie, Dorinda. Mara can go. She makes me sick. Yeah, so I'm rooting for Mark, maybe Natalie, Dorinda, or Steven. Johnny pissed me off because he's not being strong enough. And he's wavering too easily. He's wavering too easily. All right, guys, my sinuses are draining or whatever's going on. I'm in my car. But thank y'all for watching. Please share this video, hype it if possible, like, comment, and thanks for watching. I'll see y'all for the next recap. Bye-bye.